Hey guys, Frank Rich here from MASSTHETICMUSCLE.com, and in this video today we're going to go over the 3 best exercises to build your biceps. Now, as we spoke about in other videos, in order to fully stimulate a muscle for growth, we need to be able to work it through its entire range of motion. So every exercise that we go over today is going to be working the biceps through a different point within the range. But before we get into that, let's break down the biceps and talk about the full range or the full motion of what the bicep is doing. Now, when we think about a fully lengthened bicep, or when we get into a fully lengthened position, we're actually going to want to have an external rotation within our shoulder with our hands behind us, arms behind us. Now at this point, we actually want to contract or flex our triceps. That's going to further lengthen out the bicep. So where you're sitting or standing watching this video right now, I want you to actually do that. Take your arms, externally rotate them in, and really feel those biceps lengthen or stretch out. So that's going to be the beginning point of our range. Now most people think about a bicep as an elbow flexor, which it is, but it serves a few other functions as well, one of them being supination. So as we start to do our motions and do our curling, we actually want to think about using our pinkies and bringing it to the outside of our shoulder. And if you watch me do that there, you can actually see the bicep actually contract a little bit further. So this is going to be our motion through what would be the mid-range of a bicep curl. Now the bicep is also going to function in getting our hands behind our head. So we're going to go from fully lengthened here to fully shortened behind us. Now obviously that's a pretty big movement and probably not something we're going to be able to accomplish within one exercise or one movement, which is why I'm going to show you 3 separate movements that's going to work the bicep through the entire range. So everything we do today, I'm going to break it down for you and explain how it's working the biceps through a different point of range. So these are the 3 exercises that I want you to master. Anything you do outside of these is going to be additional work, but if you nail these 3 exercises, master them down, and put them into an intelligent programming within your workouts, I promise you your biceps will improve, will grow, will get bigger, which I think is what we're all accomplishing or aiming to accomplish within our training. So let's take head over to the first exercise right now and break down how we get the biceps in a fully shortened position. First movement we're going to go over today is the high cable biceps curl. Now the function of the goal of this movement is working that bicep in its fully shortened range. So we're going to tackle the shortened range first, and then we're going to work the biceps later in the next movement in the lengthened range, and then we're going to hit somewhere in the mid. But as of right now, let's talk about the high cable curl. So what we're accomplishing here, what we're looking to do, is take the biceps from our lengthened position, flex in or contract in, and then really focus on getting it fully contracted, fully shortened with our arms behind our head. Now there's a few different ways you can do this. For me, being a little bit taller and dealing with the cable height that we have here, I have to work it in a seated position. But this is something depending upon what your gym offers or your structure. Play with the movement, see what's going to work best for you. So breaking it down here, and grab my handles here within my hand and taking it through the movement. So I'm going to get locked in position here. It's also nice to do it seated because you have the support of the bench behind you, so you don't have to worry about stabilizing or doing too much movement within your upper torso. So I'm going to be seated here, and at the top of the position, fully lengthened. What I'm thinking about is fully stretching out that bicep. So in order to do that, I need to think about contracting my triceps. That's going to further lengthen the bicep. So from here, I'm using nothing but my biceps to curl it in. And then as I get here, I'm actually going to rotate in with my shoulders, bringing those hands behind me, further shortening that tricep. Controlling the weight out on the eccentric, lengthening by contracting the triceps, bringing it in. Bringing those hands behind my head. Now, as I'm doing this as well, I'm thinking about bringing my pinkies into my shoulders, further supinating those biceps. Now, if you struggle with getting that supination and you're using too much of your palm or too much of your index finger, I'm going to show you guys one hack that you can do to actually force your body into doing supination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these grips here and actually think about holding the cable across my hand here. Now by doing this, I'm actually forcing my biceps to work as I rotate my wrist in, because that weight is coming on the outside of my hand. So just by that little change in the grip, I'm forcing my bicep to just naturally supinate. So here, same thing, I'm lengthening, fully contracting those triceps. Then as I curl in, my arms are forced to supinate or to bring that weight because of how the tension is coming across my hand. All right, guys, high cable bicep curl, seated or standing, whatever's gonna work for you. Work on getting that bicep in a fully shortened position. All right, guys, second movement we're gonna go over today is gonna be the high incline dumbbell curl. Now, you can play with this movement, you can do dumbbells or you can do cables, whatever you feel is gonna work best for you. But we're gonna go over the logic, we're gonna go over the execution of it so you know how to implement it and why we're doing it second within our programming. So the first one we did was working the biceps in the fully contracted position or the fully shortened position. By utilizing the bench, we're allowing ourselves to get our arms behind us, internally rotated, so we're working the biceps through its most lengthened range. So you attack the biceps in shortened range first, and now we're going to work it within the lengthened range. So you can see if we think about the strength curve, we're working on both ends first, and then later we'll discuss how to work it more in the mid-range. So let's break down this movement, and let me show you how to implement it and how to execute it within your programming. So I'm doing a dumbbell curl. Like I said, mess with it, play with it. If you feel the dumbbells are working best for you, go ahead and implement that. Or you can try to do this with a cable attachment, whatever you feel is going to work best for you. So we're doing high incline. Now for me, I prefer doing it in a standing position. It just allows me to get my scapula retracted back. It allows me to keep my shoulder blades locked down. But once again, that can be a preference for you. So as we see here, we're going to fully lengthen the bicep. So here in the bottom position, I'm thinking about flexing my triceps, really stretching out those biceps. As I rotate up, once again, I'm supinating at the elbow, fully lengthening. As I curl up, using nothing but my biceps to move the weight, thinking about bringing my pinkies to my shoulders. Fully lengthened here, curling up. Not going past the point where my biceps are going to lose tension. So if I come up here, essentially I'm going to lose all tension on the bicep. So I want to keep it in a range, because like we said, what our main focus or what our main goal is here is really hammering out or really working those triceps in that lengthened bottom position here. So that's it, guys. It's not going to be a movement that you want to go real heavy on, put a lot of stress and tension on the shoulder. Make sure to keep the tension applied to the bicep. Really focus on getting them fully lengthened out at the bottom. Talk to you guys at the next one. Third and final movement in our biceps workout today is going to be the preacher curl. Now, we've attacked the biceps in the shortened position first with a high cable curl. We worked it through its fully lengthened range with the high incline dumbbell curl. Now what we're looking to do is we're really looking for an output movement, something that's really going to stabilize the arm and allow us to really get a high amount of efficiency or high amount of workload through the mid-range of the movement or of the range. So by having the preacher curl set up, having the pad, it allows us to stabilize our upper arm or our humerus, allowing us to drive our arms down, fully locked into position, and really working on maximum output or max load effort through the range of motion. A few keys I want to go over, a few cues to help you get the most out of this movement and make sure it fits within your body, is as you set it up, what you're thinking about doing is with each arm, you want that elbow pit always facing up. So you don't want to be curling in this range. That's going to put a lot of tension, a lot of stress on your elbow joint, on your wrist joint. So find a preacher curl or find a way to do this movement, whether it's single arm, whether it's with dumbbells, whether it's with cables, that allows you to keep your elbow pit to the ceiling. So as I set it up here, that's what I'm thinking about doing. Is I'm thinking about keeping my upper arm straight, elbow pits to the ceiling. For me, it helps to have the seat all the way at the bottom. I don't really like to sit into the movement. I just find it what works best for me. Now, As I initiate the movement, I'm thinking about driving my triceps down into the pad. I don't want to do any of this. At that point, I'm losing all the tension from my biceps. So as I've got the weight locked in position, I'm driving my triceps down. Focus on curling the weight through the biceps. Okay. I don't want to get it up here because once again, I'm losing all the tension on the biceps. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about just getting it to a point where my arms are in a fully flexed position. And like I said, this movement is a stabilized movement. We're looking for high output, high amount of workload. Keep control of the weight, control it through the eccentric. So essentially what we've done is really taken the bicep through its most mid-range, and we've utilized a movement that's going to allow us for a lot of output and a lot of high-level efficiency. So let's wrap it up, guys. All right, guys, so there you have it. The 3 best exercises to build your biceps. Now, as I talked about at the beginning of the video, if you can master anything first, master these 3 movements. It's taking the biceps through its full range. Now, once you got these down, you can start to play with some different types of angles, different types of movements, but these should be the foundation of your biceps training. So we want to work it through the shortened range, we want to work it through the lengthened range, and then we want to have a movement that's going to allow for a high amount of output, a high amount of efficient workload. So that's going to be where we throw in that preacher cable or that preacher curl, where we're getting the stabilization through the pad. So master these movement, guys, and I guarantee that your biceps will improve. You'll get bigger arms, whether it's for the beach, whether it's for the stage, or just whether it's to build more confidence within yourself. So I appreciate you guys tuning in today. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, make sure to do that below as we're releasing new videos every single week. And also, if you haven't picked up our free report yet, we have that available for you as well. So 5 tips to help you accelerate your muscle growth and shatter through any plateaus. So click on the link in the description box. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you next time.